That's insane. You can't put sexual flirtations that high. It's right next to rape, Cindy said with a loud laugh. She told me about this afterwards. I mean, how are guys supposed to hit on women? Maybe they shouldn't hit on them, Charlotte said coldly. Okay, well, how are they supposed to convince a girl to sleep with them? Cindy replied. What's wrong with the woman making the decision? Cassandra said. Okay. But you're not getting what I said. If a guy likes a girl, what's he supposed to do to let her know he does? Cassandra, Charlotte, nor any of the other women answered Cindy. They just shut down, dismissed her with a quick silence, then moved on. Outside, all of us men rated rape as a 10, and all the others of varying degrees. Ciango was a little upset we didn't rate the other offenses higher, but understood. He picked up on my displeasure with the whole proceedings, noting a couple of criticizing remarks I made on this dialogue. When Ciango told the guys that these dialogues are part of a social deprogramming, techniques to unlearn negative patterns of behavior, I said this felt more like systematic programming. It wasn't unlearning, it was enforcement. Ciango was a bit frustrated with me, but then had to wrap it up and go into the office with us. Once us men walked into the office, the women's ratings were put on the chalkboard. All the girls, except Cindy, who sat uncomfortably quiet, gave silent, defensive, expectant looks. Charlotte especially wanted to see how her boyfriend Sharon responded. He apparently hadn't proven his undying support of feminism yet. Max wasn't there that day, and Katrina was in Berkeley, so Cassandra and Ciango looked forward to a non-confrontational dialogue. I was disturbed when I saw all the offenses besides rape at 9, right up close to the 10 of rape. It was almost as if the women were minimizing rape without their knowing it. When Ciango put on the chalkboard the men's ratings, the women were shocked to see so many offenses so lowly rated. I'm sorry, but rape is serious as hell, and these other things are not even close, I blurted out after the women's criticism of the men's ratings. How can you say that, Tom? Charlotte said, turning to me in surprise. She didn't expect me to be critical. What do you mean, how can you say that? Is rape not serious? I replied with irritation. That's not what Charlotte meant. She was asking, how can you minimize these other offenses? Cassandra said solemnly. Whistling, catcalling, sexual flirtations, sexual jokes. We're talking about verbal things here, with no inference of violence at all. Rape is not only physical, but violent. There's a vast difference, I continued. Any objectification of women is a form of degradation. It still is destructive, just not in obvious ways. You may have a hard time understanding since you're a man. You don't have to go through the daily objectification of your body that we do, Charlotte said to me as if reading from a textbook. That's right, I don't. But I go through other things that you and women don't have to. Every one of us has to fight against one form of objectification or another. As a white, straight male, Cassandra said with a laugh. Part of her tried to lighten it up, and a part of her was ridiculing me. Believe it or not, Cassandra, yes. Hey, look, you and Charlotte know me pretty well. You've worked with me for several months now. You can see from my actions I'm no sexist pig. I'm not saying these other offenses are harmless, not at all. But a 9? That high? I think we should be more reasonable, shouldn't we? Any of these so-called harmless offenses, Cassandra began to say. I didn't say they were harmless, I interrupted with a frustrated laugh. Excuse me, Thomas, Cassandra continued with a short, cold tone in voice. But what I was about to say was that you're not getting our point. Sexual objectification of any kind is destructive. It all plays into the systematic degradation of women. We are dealing with powerful social stigmas, centuries and centuries of patterns of behavior. The submission of women is everywhere, meaning it's all connected. You have a hard time seeing it, but rape is not far from catcalling. There's more than one way to rape a woman. said, not believing what she said. What was this all about? Something clicked in my head. The women's retreat took place only a couple weeks ago. There must have been some discussion of how the women wanted to make the organization more militantly feminist. I remember Cindy even mentioning something like that. That's why Cassandra, Charlotte, and Katrina, as hardcore as they may have been before, after the retreat, they became even more so. Statistics have shown that a man who obsessively catcalls after women or obsessively hits on them has a good chance of crossing the line and raping a woman. Cassandra said, like Charlotte before, speaking as if from a textbook she recently read. It's facts, dude, Charlotte said to me. It seems to me you're hanging on to a lot of our puritanical conditioning. If you want to talk about centuries of conditioning, I said to Cassandra and Charlotte. What do you mean by that? Cassandra said with her put-on air of intellectual questioning, but then also mixed with her annoyed and defensive reaction. America was founded by Puritans, essentially, yes. No one liked them over in Europe because of their fickle religions, so they came here. American culture and the American mentality is deeply rooted in Puritanism. The women's movement that eventually got the right for women to vote in this country was motivated by a highly puritanical, asexual group of women. They planted the seed of asexuality in American feminism, and you can see it today. Have you noticed American feminists have a particularly puritanical streak to them, meaning they don't like sex? I said. The whole time I was talking, I felt the rage burning inside me from the looks I got. Cindy laughed and was shut down by stares. Be careful not to make blanket statements about things you don't know, Thomas, Cassandra said. Okay then, I agree. Blanket statements are uncalled for. I shot at Cassandra a harsh look, making sure she got my acknowledgement and rebuttal to her feminist blanket statements.